welcome to this long-awaited new episode. Sorry for the fact that it's only taken me a year to come up with this new episode, but health hasn't been good and money hasn't exactly been plentiful, so I haven't been able to splash out on anything fancy. But allow me to thank everybody out there for making my last episode the most successful of the lot so far. The viewing figures for episode 12 have been phenomenal, and well, it seems people like that. So thanks again for that. And let's move on to this one. And again, we're dealing with speaker cables. Now, you will remember in a previous episode, I presented you with QED Silver Anniversary XT, which was a very decent silver plated speaker cable which sold for £6.50 a metre, which is all very well if you can afford that sort of thing. But what happens when suddenly you need a lot more speaker cable? In fact, 20 metres of it. £6.49 multiplied by 20, well, that's £130. Some of us live in the real world and don't have access to that sort of money. And you go on the website, What Hi-Fi, and you look at their recommended speaker cables, and it's always the same. The cheapest one is about £5 a square metre. That's square metre? We're not dealing with carpet here. £5 a metre, which would be £100 for my needs. No, I don't even have that. Fortunately, the aforementioned QED come to our rescue. And here it is. And it is a classic that has been with us for over 40 years. This is QED Classic 79 strand speaker cable. It was in 1975 when QED introduced their 42 strand speaker cable. And it certainly convinced many people of the importance of using a decent cable. And it's still manufactured to this very day. And of course they also provided their slightly beefier 79 strand cable, which also has been around for over 40 years and has won awards and has even won a longevity award because it's been around for so long. Again, another example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In fact, I'm willing to suggest that the only change between this and the 70s original is that this would feature oxygen-free copper, which I'm guessing they didn't have back then. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments section below. But this is a thoroughly decent speaker cable. I mean, it's 16 AWG and features the beloved oxygen-free copper, which is supposed to offer superior transmission properties. And if there is one complaint that is often levelled at this, so it would help if I put this in front of the camera. Busy talking away and not sorry, you know, I'm really doing dreadfully in this episode. If there's one complaint that is often levelled against this and the 42 strand cable, maybe if I pull a chair over it'll help me, is that if you look at the cable, there's no markings or indications of which is your plus or your minus. So how in the hell do you tell your positive from your negative? Well, let's try this. Maybe this camera will focus. Try that. Probably won't see it, but there's a rib, very fine rib that runs the entire length of the cable, and as long as you make that your positive, then you should have no problems. Very fine, you can just see it, but it's there, and that will help you sort your plus from your minus. And it's been around for so long, and I'll be honest, I've looked up reviews of this cable and people seem to be very satisfied with it. It's unpretentious, it doesn't promise the earth, it doesn't promise to deliver you know, all these fancy promises that are made with these speaker cables that come out nowadays, you know, commanding stupid amounts of money with their fancy geometries. Well, this is about as basic as it gets. 79 strands of OFC copper in a plain white jacket, and you can get it in black as well. And how much is it? £2.20 per metre. So for my use, that's £44. You cannot go wrong. It's a lot more palatable than 100, and certainly more so than 130. And if you want their thinner 42 strand, which I believe is 19 AWG, well, that's only £1.20 per metre. So it's certainly a worthwhile upgrade from the old bell wire. In fact, before they launched that 42 strand cable back in 1975, people were perfectly happy to use bell wire. And, well, somehow QED persuaded them. And look at the mess we're in now, you know, where we've got all these fancy companies with their fancy cables and their fancy geometries and long grain copper and, you know, perfect silver. And the money they want in exchange for it, well, you get none of that with this. You just can't beat it. Just put some decent plugs on the ends, air seal them. How could you go wrong? And how does it sound? Well, I haven't plugged mine in yet, but according to some of the reviews I've found, it sounds just like a speaker cable should. Totally unpretentious. Doesn't add anything or take anything away. It's more or less a window to the sound of your system. A couple of reviewers out there have described it as bright sounding. So if you're a rock listener or you like your jazz music with its sizzling treble, then this cable will do you good. But if you're after a smooth sound and you don't like having your ears sawn off by high energy treble content, well, this may not suit you. But, you know, if you've got a smooth sounding system, then you can't go wrong with this. And if you favour a decent treble, apparently it will not let you down. And I'll certainly look forward to plugging this in and seeing what it does for my system. Because the last speaker cable I was using, the silver plated version, they say that silver plating cables allows for a very prominent treble, and I certainly noticed that. So I'm looking forward to more of the same with this, and yes, it may not be, you know, thick, like elephant style cable, but it's not going to let us down. Well, what a fantastic speaker cable this has turned out to be. So great. In fact, it's allowed me to do this. Here, look, watch that. As I turn that treble control back to the 12 o'clock position, exactly where it should be. Only to be used with specific pieces of music if necessary. And the stir-up button, watch as I do this. Oh, doesn't that sound reassuring? Those tone controls are bypassed. The amp is now in its neutral position, because this is one treble happy cable, and my speakers no longer sound muffled as a result of it. It is fantastic. It certainly allows the treble content to be heard, not at the expense of bass. It certainly doesn't reduce the bass or colour it or cloud it in any way.
Would I give you money? I don't.
And yes, I'm having to mute the audio every now and again because of the beloved copyrights. And here is why I need 20 metres of the stuff, because the speakers are over here. And my system is now all the way on the other side of the room. So I needed 2 metres to go from that left speaker.
Well, like every day,
to the corner of the room, followed by 5 metres to travel the length of the room, and then 2 metres to meet the amplifier. So 9 meters plus 1 for give or take. And my goodness, the best £44 I've spent, that's for sure. So QED 79 strand speaker cable, more than 40 years old, a terrific purchase. You cannot go wrong.